sometimes because people see I cover like creeps, like I'll get people in my chat who are like, please help me expose this random guy on Discord for being a groomer. And it's like, dude, I don't think you understand. Like, I'm a YouTuber. Sometimes I'll make videos that are important or it's good to get the info out, but I'm still a YouTuber. I'm not the police. And like, these people will not go to the police straight up, like at all. It is because like, I don't think they want a real resolution. They just want it to be talked about on YouTube. Hey, what's up, buddy?
Hey, can you hear me all right?
Yeah, sounds all right. How are you doing?
Too bad. Sorry, I'm away on a work thing, so you've got me on a fucking mobile. I apologize.
Yeah, no worries. So, your experience making this video, I'm really curious. When were these interviews recorded? It must have been after the Chud streams, but
Yeah, yeah.
okay.
It was the week after them, basically. I just dashed around and grabbed everybody, essentially.
In your
Um,
estimation, why was Charts, sorry, I don't mean to kind of front load this, but I'm so curious. Why do you think he was so forthcoming with you?
so because of the whole Lio and Peaches drama, I was pretty balanced, even if I was just taking the piss out of people.
What
So when
exactly is the
Lio
Lio and Peaches drama exactly? They were bullying some autistic person on a Discord called the Senate. Is that what was
Oh
happening?
my God, it's like super autistic, but yeah, that's a TLDR, and there's like an old grooming server
Grooming
related to
server?
the Toby drama. Yeah, the fruitcake server. It is very in the weeds,
The
but
fruitcake server. Okay. All
uh,
right. Well, I don't mean to get too deep here, but what's the sorry. What's the
yeah,
relevance of the
so,
Lio and Peaches drama?
because I was pretty fair when Lio had his conversation with Jar. I'd already like spoken to Lio because he knows Jar, and he basically Lio told him to come and talk to me. So that's
Right.
that's the reason he did, because Lyle was like, Beckett will be fair, which I think I have been. I mean, I kind of just set up the question and then asked it to him directly. So I think that's probably the only way to do something like this.
Right. Yeah, that would make sense. So were you surprised or shocked by his responses? Because he seemed very like when you asked him questions straight up about like, do you have this weird behavior? He was like, yeah, I do, and I've had it for a while, and I know it's a problem, and I haven't changed it. And then also when you asked him a question like, do you have real opinions in your videos, or are you just full of shit? He was like, yeah, I just kind of decide by committee, and I just want to win. Were you surprised by how forthcoming he was? Because he seemed very honest.
He was really broken, if I'm honest. He'd kind of gone through like a gauntlet of different people phoning him and wanting to talk to him. He was getting like bashed by his girlfriend. Everything was crashing. So I think he was just sort of as honest as he could be with me because
He got bashed by his
he was just
girlfriend.
oh yeah, his girlfriend was pissed from what I understand. She was not pleased. So that's what I
Interesting.
heard through the grapevine.
Okay.
Because she's also at least ACC. I don't know who she is, but I do know that people know her, if that makes sense. But I
Okay.
never asked for her again.
Okay, gotcha. So you in the video you call him a sex pest. My interpretation of him, basically, maybe I'm being too charitable, is that like I don't think he would ever do anything weird to a girl if he thought she didn't want it. But it seems to me like he just has very bad misunderstandings of social cues, and it's even like to the point where I mean in that Mally Malware DM. Like she was like, I don't want to hang out. I don't want to talk to you. I don't want to be your friend. And he just kept going, wanting to hang out with her. Is it fair to say that like I don't think he would have ever made some kind of like weird physical move on a girl that he didn't think was comfortable with it, but it seems to me more like over DMs he's just extremely fucking socially awkward and like doesn't know when to just shut up. Is that fair?
I think it okay. So I'd say it's this way. I think it depends what we're defining as sex pest. Because do I think he's like a rapist? And I've heard accusations like that. No, absolutely
Because
not.
there
I've
was that
seen
person I
no
think in the
evidence.
video who was like, I think there was some clip you took where someone was like, Jar could have done something bad to you, right? Am I wrong?
Yeah, and I'm just like the shit like this just is unsubstantiated. So like, and I heard other things like that while I was making the video. So like the thing with the 17-year-old saying that which Jar forced me to draw this lewd art, and I knew about that while I was making the video and chose not to run it just because I didn't feel like it had enough. I didn't feel like I could validate that story enough or any biases. But yeah, I think he is, even if it's unintentionally, I think that what he ends up being is a sex pest because he makes people uncomfortable. But I don't know if that's his intention or he's just really autistic. So I don't think it's like this person needs to be like criminally or seriously looked into. It's just like this is weird and has been happening for a long time, if that makes
Yeah.
sense.
I mean, not to get too armchair psychologist here, but I do believe him when he says that he was homeschooled and he is very autistic. So, like I do just straight up believe that off the bat, and I think that probably some of these interactions were informed by that. It doesn't excuse it, obviously, if he makes people feel uncomfortable repeatedly and doesn't stop. But my estimation of it is that like with Mally Malware, for example, he didn't even know what she looked like prior to VidCon, right?
No, he had
So
no clue. he didn't find out, I think, until 2024, and
Okay.
even then it was conquest. So
So
yeah,
my
he
my basic impression of that is like he is just like a gooner sitting in his room alone. He doesn't interact with girls at all. And I'm not trying to say, I don't think either of us are on the sort of alpha male based Rizzler wave, but he seems like a gooner who hasn't had a lot of interactions with girls at all. And so to him, like any girl who's willing to even respond to his DM is a potential for like a partner, which is why, and the reason I'm able, in my mind I'm able to justify that is because and that other DM where some random person just added him on Discord, he was like, "Don't hit on me unless you're 20 or above." Like he's
yeah,
immediately
I mean,
concerned that any woman who contacts him could be interested in him in some way.
yeah, I mean, like you mentioned the homeschooling thing. He actually talked a bit more to me about that, and his mother is like a hyper insane creationist Christian.
Okay.
And like the way he describes it to me is out of his multiple siblings, he's turned out the best.
Okay.
So there's some awareness there that this isn't great, but I think that largely he is just someone who's trying to like function in the world. This has cost him jobs before.
You don't see him as
His
like a
behaviors
malicious
are
person, I assume.
no, well, okay, not with this stuff. I think the other stuff, like going after people, like trying to ruin people's lives, and like or like bully people himself, and he has done this, is incredibly malicious. I just like he is very vengeful and very vindictive. But do I think that he's like going out there to like potentially set up and stalk women in a sexual way? No, I don't. I don't. I don't think he thinks that far ahead. But I think he wanted to like almost. My personal take is with the Ponder stuff, with like gripping her hand and things. I think personally he wanted to shock or scare Ponder a little bit, but not in like a domineering way, just because he hates Ponder.
Okay, gotcha. What is their drama exactly? I don't really understand what their beef was over. If you could, I don't know how deep you are in the weeds, but I guess I'm just hoping while I
Oh
have
yeah,
you here
no,
for like a quick TLDR.
he Ponder called him racist once.
Oh, okay. Why did she call him racist? Was it because of the blackface thing?
It was I can't remember what the reason was. I think it was to do with him saying the N word and things. I mean, the ACC, it's really left wing and woke. So I mean, if you
Yeah,
say the N word once, you're called racist for the rest of your life.
base.
Pretty much it.
Right. Okay. Makes sense. I guess on that note, what do you think like what do you think like the path forward is here for him? Like do you think he can I'm of the belief that pretty much anyone can come back on YouTube and if they apologize for their misgivings or frankly just ignore it and don't apologize, they could still be fine if they make good content. But for him it seems kind of difficult because I mean like you said like his entire interest seems to be in winning these autistic, inconsequential dramas that don't matter. This seems to be his entire thing. So ultimately, if that's gone, if he's like the quote unquote loser of the drama, like what does he really have? Because it's not like there are some creators who will like they'll make like a video once in a while that's like the real, in the commentary space at least, that's like the real like passion project where they want to like right a wrong or like communicate some unheard truth about a situation. But typically they just make like, typical content that everybody can kind of get behind and just enjoy. But he doesn't seem to do that. His entire thing is like the arguments and this is right and this is wrong, and to an extent this is something I've noticed with the art commentary community, which is something that's put me off from them. They seem to have no sense of like wanting to build a career or like get monetary gain from YouTube. Like it all just seems like how do I win the drama with the guy, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, well, they've all been doing it since they were like what, four, like you've got creators there who've been there since they were like 13, 14. And this is their social group. This is their friend group.
Like their entire
And
friend
I
group, you
mean,
think like is online basically?
oh, yeah. I think pretty much for most of them anyway. Yeah, and you look at some of the bigger creators who are just walking away from channels. Like Hopeless Peaches was like 120,000 subscribers. Ponder's not really posting anymore. She's like 100K. Streamline's pretty big. Again, not really posting anymore. People are, from other dramas just giving up. And the other thing is that the ACC itself has kind of grown up. The like now like the art drama, if you like, isn't really happening on YouTube anymore. It's happening on TikTok. So the
Is it? I didn't know
upcoming
that. I
creators
guess
are
that
really
makes sense.
yeah. And I
On
mean some of the stuff
TikTok.
over there is like crazy, but like yeah, that's where it seems to be focused. The ACC is kind of dead on YouTube. So no one ever really made their bag. It was mostly like selling merch and things, but the like a lot of the ACC creators, if they were making money, they were doing it through art commissions
Well,
because
that was always the
that's,
thing with Creepshow Art. Creepshow Art was the one who did make her bag, and even she fucked it up because once again, her real interest didn't seem to be in making money or self preservation or like building a brand and like branching out to other content. It was literally just, how do I win in this hyper specific autistic drama against the guy with 30,000 subscribers, right? And
Yeah,
it's
that's
so
pretty
perplexing to me. And I feel like on one hand it is kind of base to be like the guy who's like, I don't care about money. I just care about the truth. But in this case, like the truth they care about is like proving that Wibblewob Minecraft Block 12 traced art. You know what I mean? Like it just doesn't like it's all for nothing. Like why?
Yeah, and it's all treated with the same severity. Like dramas about a tracing, like someone tracing art, are treated like with the same seriousness as a drama about a child groomer. It's fucking insane that there's like no dividing line between these things. There's just everything is insane all the time. But
Right. Yeah, that's always been the perplexing thing to me about it. But I guess that, kind of explains why a lot of it's falling apart right now. So I guess on that note, if the art commentary community is dead, what's your next move for content? Since I ripped your whole vid on my stream, what are you working on?
I've got a couple of things. I'm looking at the like SCP community. I'm looking at like Roblox as well because there's some weird stuff there. But as always, I'm also just doing general commentary stuff. I'm waiting to see if DogPack brings out a third video, so I can go back to viciously trying to debunk everything he says on Twitter. That's always fun.
What's your
So,
what's your impression of him? Because my impression, despite everything, is that he does want to do the right thing and he thinks he's doing the right thing.
I think he is a highly malicious actor who is pissed off that his dream job got taken away from him.
You think so?
I,
Mm.
yeah, I don't. The thing is, like, look, I've been through the guy's like internet history through like his stuff on Reddit, the stuff with XQC. I've had DMs with him as well, and it's really weird, mate. So one claim he makes is that he used to have a YouTube channel with 60,000 subscribers, and he's worked with a lot of big YouTubers over
Really?
the years. Yeah, and there's two things here. Firstly, when I said, "Well, what's your channel?" he didn't say, "Oh, it's deleted. Oh, it's gone." He said, "I don't think you can find it," which is just infuriating. And if he's worked with lots of big YouTubers, you would expect at this point somebody, even if it's in the background, to have said, yes, I know Dogpack. Yes, I know Dawson. Yes, even if it's negative, whether it's whatever. No one has done that, so I don't think it's true.
Do you think he lied? Yeah. I mean, maybe it was like a faceless channel from like years ago that nobody would recognize, but
Well, he lied about how long he was at MrBeast, right? Like he said that he was at MrBeast for months, or at least he framed the time period. But he was at MrBeast for 3 weeks.
right.
He worked there for 3 weeks and got fired. I'm just like, it's just not. He's more than happy to run the most extreme thing possible and just be like, yeah, we've got a chat log with cheese pizza in it, and I'm just like, oh,
Yeah.
okay, well, yeah, this
I
is
don't
how
remember what
you
that
did this
woman's
with
name
James
was,
Bond.
but
Well,
it must have been insane to you to fuck, what's her name? The lawyer woman. You know what I'm talking about? Who is she?
oh, surprise witness.
Yeah, yeah. She said that you were paid off by Mr. Beast. That was pretty funny. Like, I mean, no offense, but I remember watching that. I think I said it in a video, but I was like, you think Mr. Beast is paying off a channel with 3,000 subscribers to like expose Dogpack's public Reddit history?
Yeah, like it's a flattering idea, and like everyone loves to include a British accent, but unfortunately, no, I have not been approached by Mr. Beast to run PR defense for him. But yeah, I don't know. It's this whole. And again, like with the Chris Tyson stuff, Cope and Seed released Chris Tyson's general chat like 15 minutes before Keen started. We had it as well. Like we've done quite a lot of work on that side with going through all of that. So I've not sat here and defended Mr. Beast. I've just sort of gone where the story's taken me. And as far as I can see, from the more serious allegations, if you like, I just think Dawson is grasping at straws. And Jake Weddle. I mean, Jake Weddle's history is really weird. Um, because he's constantly seemed to have worked with Mr. Beast, attacked Mr. Beast, worked with Mr. Beast, attacked Mr. Beast. The other thing that's really weird with the whole Dawson Weddle stuff is the Delaware thing. If you watch Dogpack's first video, he includes a tweet from Jake the Viking, the whole Jimmy New tweet, which
Yes.
sort of shows that he didn't know when he made the first video about the Delaware. So his later claim of, well, I'd heard about this when I was working at Mr. Beast must be a fucking lie. So it's all these little things that when you piece them together and you go, yeah, this guy's just sort of far more full of shit than people first saw. And it's a shame because I think, the Mr. Beast story was really interesting. I think there probably are things that are worth looking into.
I guess my question with that would be like, as far as the Mr. Beast stuff, because I think I'm relatively on the same page as you, although maybe not quite maybe not quite as aggressive on DogPack, but I haven't done all the research for his history, so I don't know all of it. As far as the MrBeast drama in general, like how much of it do you think from DogPack's videos or just other content in general has merit, and how much of it do you think is just kind of cringe, whatever, nothing burger stuff?
I think the story of Mr. Beast runs a media company like a media company is not a surprise. It's like, well, yeah, sure. Well, are we going to talk about Netflix next or Hollywood or whatever? It's like, yes, we know these places have problems. I don't think that should be surprising to anyone. I think that if there was sort of a culture there of what it sounds like to me is there was a culture there where Jimmy made a lot of money. He started running a YouTube business and it's become way bigger than it was ever meant to be. And they have historic issues to solve, basically. I think the Chris Tyson stuff's really bad, unironically. Yeah,
Yeah,
I think
what
it's
do you think about the Jimmy New claim? What do you think about that? Because my thoughts on it is like maybe he knew that Chris was a Shadman fan if he knew like the deep lore about Shadman, like if he knew like how bad Shad really was. But I don't know that he knew that Chris was like having weird interactions with kids on Discord. That was kind of my impression of it.
So it's really difficult to say. The truth is we'll probably never know. The one sort of like big link was somebody called Discount Milk who knew Jimmy and Chris IRL. They were like they'd met at a networking thing or something. But Discount Milk was like the mod in Chris's server who was really pushing like the hentai shit.
Yeah.
And as far as I can tell, he was also a mod for Mr. Beast, but there is no log of Mr. Beast's old private server. The only reason I think that is because it's implied by Lava when he's setting up the rules for Chris's server. He mentions that he copied Discount Milk's rules page and used that as a rule page for Tyson's server when it went public.
Right.
So it really depends how it's not, in my opinion, it's not a question of did Jimmy know about Chris Tyson? It's did Jimmy know about Discount Milk? Because if Jimmy knew about Discount Milk, then that's actually probably far worse because I think Jimmy was aware that these people were younger. He was aware that, he seems, it would be very difficult for him not to be aware of how old Lava was, for example, because Lava came and met him and
I guess to
got
me the question is like, because I assume he wasn't. I mean, from the DMs, I don't remember him being super active in that Discord server. I remember a few jokes, and it wasn't like he was like in those logs, like, "Hey guys, let's fucking talk about memes and edgy shit and Nazi memes and whatever." Like, it wasn't like he was like the most active member. Which makes
like
wait, what's up?
It's like 3 interactions as far as I can
Right.
tell, and then he leaves.
Which to me makes sense because he was busy running the biggest YouTube channel in the world, or what would become the biggest YouTube channel in the world. So to me, like the likelihood that he knew, like, did he know that there was like 15-year-old Lava in that server? Probably yes. I think that's obviously clear. Did he know that there was like weird porn being shared in there like frequently and like how bad it was? I would guess probably not. That's my guess. But to your point, we can never know. But all we can really assume all we can really surmise based off of it in the absence of a statement from him and more information is go off his actions. And to me, his actions show, if anything, he was relatively absent. Now, should he have known? Should he have been aware? I think that's a different conversation, but maybe considering what MrBeast would become and the other young people on that server, he probably should have had some awareness maybe. But I don't know if it's like I don't see this as a situation where he knew that Chris was like intending on grooming kids or something like that. You know what I mean? And it's also a weird case because
I think
sorry, you go.
Yeah, when you're dealing with really, some of these are quite serious accusations. I mean, they're potentially career ruining, and I think you need a high level of evidence to make them. And I don't
Right.
think has helped the previous serious allegations, like against James Warren with domestic violence, or like the group chat that DogPack recently released with Razan, have just been so thoroughly debunked so quickly. It's like, well, every time that happens, it becomes more and more difficult to really kind of keep hitting Jimmy with these accusations because it just feels, if I'm honest, kind of just really fucking bad faith. And I feel, it's kind of like it leaves a taste in my mouth because even if I think there's something there, it's just like, well, Dogpack's the one who's meant to be looking into it, and every time he brings out something, it's just like not what he's saying it is, or there's something wrong with something twisted about it, and that makes me uncomfortable, I guess.
Yeah, I agree with that completely. I think also that the case of Chris Tyson is really interesting because, so like traditionally on YouTube, when you see like a grooming allegation, and keep in mind, I'm going to preface this to chat and you and everyone by saying I'm not defending Chris Tyson. Chris Tyson's a fucking weirdo, okay? But typically when you see a grooming allegation, it's like EDP, where they're like trying to meet up with the minor for the purpose of sex, right? Like it's like a very cut and dry case of like, this is the action, this is the intention, this is how it happened. But with Chris, it's different. With Chris, there was no, despite some of the information around it and misinformation, there was no specific case where Chris was like sending a kid pictures or like being like, can I get news from you? It was just like being completely desensitized to the idea of like sending not safe work material in a chat where minors are present, you know? But it wasn't a case where it was like, I'm going to go out of my way right now to message just one specific kid so I can groom them in the traditional way that a file does, right? So it's a very unique case that I think complicates the story as well. And, you know, I think that Chris is probably a morally bankrupt person that should have had these standards and boundaries, and that's why they're getting in shit. And I think, you know, they deserve to get in shit because it's not okay to be, you know, sending a bunch of porn to a Discord group chat full of minors. Like, you know, even if it's like drawn stuff, it's not a good standard. But what is, you know, like I said, perplexing is just, it's like a unique case. Typically you're not seeing this kind of thing carry out in YouTube, and it kind of complicates the entire thing when I feel like the conversation around it and the impression people have is not necessarily the reality, even though what Chris did is undoubtedly bad and could definitely be called grooming and should be criticized. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I think part of the problem as well is there's a lot of conflicting intentions. So, like, people have said, well, you know, if you're attacking Dogpack, are you defending Chris Tyson? It's like, well, no, obviously fucking not. But then you look at Dogpack's side and try, like Trey, whatever the fuck his name
Trey
is. He's
Yates,
like another
yeah.
ex. Yeah, Trey Yates does an interview where he's like, you know, I don't want to focus on Chris Tyson. I don't want this to become a transphobia thing. It's like, okay, so the only person that I can see sweeping for Chris Tyson is somebody who's on Dogpack's side, because they're trying to just take the conversation completely away from Chris Tyson and focus it all on MrBeast's company. And frankly, I mean, I've listened to that interview. Trey is just somebody who couldn't cut it in the industry. Like, he's like, well, I want, you know, why can't I work 9 to 5? Well, you work in media. Like, there's no media company anywhere that's going to be like, cool, come in at 9, leave at 5, and have your weekends off. That's just not how the industry works.
It
It's
depends on the
incredibly
company.
intense.
I mean, if it's like a very corporate company, like obviously is different. But if you're like in the YouTube space, I mean, I can personally attest that, you know, I don't work normal hours, and you know, I'm not trying to like pat myself on the back, but you know, because I want to quote unquote make it, I might work more than the typical work week a lot of the time. I will say I did find it, and this is somebody who's abused a lot of stimulus in my life. I didn't like the idea that the MrBeast employees or whatever in that corporate structure, whoever it may have been, was handing out Adderall to employees to get them to work longer. I don't really think encouraging
Yeah,
that is a
that
good
thing.
idea.
Yeah, yeah. And I mean, there's stuff like that that, like, when you evidence that stuff, you're like, yeah, that's something we can focus on. I wish I didn't have all this other stuff that is, you know, false or insane that I have to sort of swim through to get to something like that. And, you know, I feel like every time I have one of these conversations, because I'm annoyed at the dog pack situation. People will point out something like the Adderall stuff, and I'm like, oh my God, yes, finally something that I'm like, is unequivocally like a bad action, and is, you know, that's nice, because I don't want to just sit here. I actually don't want to be a MrBeast dick rider. I've never really watched Jimmy's content, and I don't really care, and I'm quite critical of Chris Tyson, so, you know, it's nice to have the actual things to criticize.
But I think the problem is not that you don't care, because it's good to be. I mean, I was you know, watching the jar video, and there was a, you know, kind of interesting lesson in there that I have found a lot of the time on YouTube, which is like when you're super emotionally invested in the outcome, when you're really outcome dependent on YouTube or in anything, but particularly on YouTube, and like, you know, I mean, we you know, we can call it stupid commentary drama or whatever, but at the end of the day, it is at this point real. I mean, I don't want to say it's real journalism, but it should be real journalism, because you're dealing with one of the biggest up and coming businesses really in the United States. It's making a lot of money. It speaks to, you know, they speak to a lot of different people out there, especially kids. Like, you know, the kids watch the content. You should have some kind of journalistic integrity when you're covering this to not fuck it up. I think, to me, the problem with the emotional investment in the outcome, when the, you know, DogPack, who has done a lot of good, to be clear, but has also done some bad, when your investment is in the downfall of MrBeast rather than getting the truth out and sifting through these claims objectively, the problem that you come to is that you misrepresent a lot of situations and spread misinformation. And then the problem that comes from that is, you know, on a kind of a macro scale, let's say MrBeast is a really horrible person. He's really guilty, which he very well could be. Like, I don't think that's out of the realm of possibility. In fact, I think it's possibly, you know, likely, intentionally or not, that he's made a lot of serious, we'll say, lapses in judgment, to use the Logan Paul phrasing. The problem with that is when you misrepresent information, he can get away with it in the long term, because he can be like, well, look at all these false claims. Why would you believe any of this shit?
Well, yeah, I mean, this is exactly what's happened with Jar, funnily enough. Because,
Exactly. Yeah.
you know,
Because he was emotionally invested.
yeah. Well, I mean, no, I mean, even with the false claims, you know, this has been
Oh,
his defense for years. Because you ask the question, why haven't people gone after him? It's like, well, you know, why every time someone does, firstly, the first thing Jar will say is, well, look at all these false accusations that I, you know, sexually molested someone who doesn't exist, or some insane shit, or, you know, I caused somebody to delete themselves. which isn't true. And then he's sort of leaned on those false allegations to kind of just dismiss actual ones over the years. And this is the Cine drama is the first time he's not been able to do that because, well, because it was Chud. And Chud doesn't know any of these previous accusations. Neither does anyone else in commentary.
Right. If this had
So
stayed
he
inside of
couldn't
the art
really
commentary
lean into
community,
that.
who knows how it would have gone.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, Jar was the last man standing. Doodle Tones is gone. They quit. Peaches is gone. Ponder is taking a break. Who else? Lio Convoy is pretty much gone. So yeah, like all the bigger names and things aren't really around anymore. So it was just Jar. He had free reign and he fucked it up. So
Yeah, he did. He was kind of the last man standing. He managed to withstand every single drama. I mean, I can think of, and I'm not even really in this community, but I follow drama, so I know it peripherally happening. But I mean, Prison Mate Luke, he left. Creepshow Art left. After Hopeless Peaches helped destroy Creepshow Art, she left. Who are the other ones? Toby Majestic left. Kai and Omnia, I think they both left. Like every single person has seemingly left the community except him. He was fine throughout all of it, and he still fucked it up. And the problem is that once again, he, I think it is cool to be the one base guy who's like, I don't need money from it. But the problem is that this entire community is a community of people of quote unquote base guys who have no interest in self-preservation or having a career. Instead, their minds are just populated with, this is probably horrible phrasing, but instead their minds are geared towards fucking winning. Like it's just, I just want to win in the drama. They don't even give a shit about self-preservation or having a career, which is, a recipe for disaster when you're just constantly trying to win in these 10-year-long beefs that no one should give a fuck about.
Yeah, it's just they're completely unable to move on. And I think what's interesting as well is one thing that again happened with Jar quite a lot is he'd sort of bury the hatchet. He'd be like, "We're cool now," and then the minute the person he was like cool with fucked up, he'd be like, "You remember that time you called me racist? Now I'm gonna make a fucking video on you. I know I said we were friends, but actually I've just been waiting," which is like really fucking twisted, I think. Which is why he went after Doodles. This whole thing with Doodle Tones was meant to be solved from his side. They were friends. But the minute he had a chance to go at her, he was like, he remembered, and then he made the video.
I don't even
ripping
understand
her to
what
pieces.
the fuck was the Doodle Tones drama in the first place.
So Doodle Tones was like an interesting history because obviously like Metica went after Doodle Tones.
What did he go after
And
them for?
so during his Deviant series, he was like fucking shaming somebody for being into some fetish. I think it was like a pissing fetish. I can't remember what it was. But Doodle Tones made a video called Mr. Metica, Kink Shaming Isn't My Fetish, I think. And basically she went and attacked him, thinking, she could like get some shots in. Metica obviously responded, and then Doodles got like pretty heavily bullied. At the same time, Jar wasn't actually ACC; he was an anti-SJW creator. He was like hanging around with people like Tree of Logic.
Okay.
So he made content on Doodle Tones, and they'd been fighting for a while. And then that all got buried. Jar came over to the ACC. Doodle Tones came over to the ACC from slideshow commentary. But Doodle Tones leaked a call that she had had with Jar, I think it was, and she also said that he was racist. And so
Right.
all that like sort of just went out the fucking window.
Gotcha. Interesting. I mean, it just seems once again, it's just so perplexing to me as somebody who, I guess, like at this point, I want to be right in drama. I don't want to fuck it up, but at the same time, like I have a sense of self-preservation. Like I want to have a career out of doing it, and I assume most people do who invest so much time in it. For them, it's like it's not about that at all. It's just winning. It's just the love of the fucking game. It's all about sending a message, and they really fuck themselves over with that. By I mean, the fact they would even, I mean, Jar is, he's not 16 years old. He's in his late 20s.
Yeah, late 20s, early 30s, something like that.
Yeah,
But yeah, this is his life. You know,
the fact he would even care about some like autistic 10-year-old drama is perplexing to me. And I remember when I was starting out on YouTube and I was like 14 years old. I remember Doodle Tones existed. I don't remember much about them, but I know they existed. And now it's been, I mean, 8 years since that, and these people are still around and they're still doing the same shit, and all their channels are stagnant in the same place they've been for years. And I mean, most of them have left, but like regardless of that, like when they were around, they weren't exactly, popping off on YouTube. None of them ever wanted to expand beyond art commentary either, apart from Creepshow Art, who fucked it all up by being insane. The entire thing for them was just, I want to win against fucking Flibbleflob, the artist, for tracing. Like it's completely insane to me. I just don't get it.
Yeah, I mean, it's very interesting from my perspective, it's really interesting to observe these people. And I mean, a lot of like, so Senate, for example, Senate started as a Barrel, which was a Brony server, and a lot of like the old Brony drama happened in that server.
Right.
So
Okay.
that's like the origin point of all of this. So it was like cartoon commentary. So people like Lily Orchard are involved in this for no good reason, and all these random people. So it's really interesting to see how they've affected the rest of the internet because art commentary is connected to like so many other communities, like even politics. Like you mentioned Destiny, but like another like small politics creator, Xena and Poppy, they're like connected to Patchwork Heart, who's connected to Lily Orchard. So it's like an autistic web of insanity.
Yeah. And it's all for nothing. It's all for fucking nothing. It's just for the love of being 30 years old and being on Discord all day. That's literally it. It's fascinating to me, but it's also just it's fascinating and is entertaining, but it's also just like pathetic. And the problem is like if you cover this stuff enough, you just become a part of the community and you get sucked into its weird drama and you're just a member. And once again,
Well, this is the like again, I've held my hands up to this. I was guilty of this. Like I got too close to one of the members of the community, and I put like too much trust in them, and it really fucked me over with this. Not like massively. I just came out and went, okay, well they're retarded, and and I was too nice to them. But yeah, it is really. I think Chud Logic put it best, where he's like, it's a safari. You sort of have to observe and stay in the fucking truck, basically.
yes.
But it's all the learning experience. So much of it happens behind closed doors that like there's this real pull to get like as much information as you can. But yeah, it's really fucking risky and autistic. And I think the only thing that's really saved me at all is the fact that my main position with most people is people have come to me since I covered ACC stuff, and they're like, "Oh my God, I've got this groomer. Can you expose them?" And I've said no, because that's not what my content is. Please fuck off. Like it's nothing to do with me.
Yeah, that's the problem. I
I'm
have a
not
lot of
like
people,
moral.
well, not a lot, but sometimes because people see I cover like creeps, like I'll get people in my chat who are like, please help me expose this random guy on Discord for being a groomer. And it's like, dude, I don't think you understand. Like, I'm a YouTuber. Sometimes I'll make videos that are important or it's good to get the info out, but I'm still a fucking YouTuber. I'm not the police. And like, these people will not go to the police straight up, like at all. It is because like I don't think they want a real resolution. They just want it to be talked about on YouTube.
Yeah, yeah. So, I think ultimately there'll always be interesting, insane communities to deal with. But I don't know. With the ACC breaking, I don't know if we're going to have anything like this again for a long time. Maybe that's best. Maybe that's fucking best.
I think it's for the best. I mean, at
Uh,
the end of the day, the like infighting and spurgery that came from that realm of the internet built up for fucking 10 years, right? So it would probably take another 10 years for something like that to come to fruition. And it's not even just, it's like since the beginning of YouTube. I mean, I think Doodletones made their channel in like 2011. It's been a long time. Yeah.
um, which is wild to think about. But anyway, I should probably get off. It's been really cool talking to you. And thanks for chatting. Glad you enjoyed the video.
Yeah. Take it easy, buddy. Good luck. Wow. My life has changed. I'm never doing a Minecraft server. Fuck off. Not happening. Not worth it. Hey, it's a cool dude. All right. Well, that being said, I got to get off and do other stuff. But thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. I got to go record videos and then have a 10-hour goon sesh. But thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. See you guys later. Bye-bye.